Salutations viewers, my name is Game Dame and welcome back to another one of my Legends of Runeterra patch notes review. So this is 2.11.0, so this is a patch note behind because this was released on June 29, 2021. And this one has a new expansion called Rise of the Underworld, which we're going to find out more while we read. So there is a video which I very much would like to watch with you guys. So we're going to watch that.
The shipment? Where is it?
On its way as we speak.
Fantastic.
Rek'Sai!
Devices?
Don't worry, I found the perfect crew for the job.
Pike!
Excellent. Pity. Such power wasted on such ignorant minds.
Well, once this is over, we can do the world a favor and raise this district to the ground.
Huh? Cool toy. Check mine out.
Guards!
Oh, Echo.
Pity. Such power wasted on such ignorant minds.
Yes! Oh, I love that. That was the Rise of the Underworld. I love that. All of that right there. I love the entirety of just all of that. Like, I'm just gonna keep saying that. That trailer was so good. I loved Pike in there. He looks so spooky. Pike is one of my favorite characters just because he's just so nuts. That's why I like him so much. So, of course, I'm going to read what is happening. So, what lurks in the depths of Legends of Runeterra's newest expansion? Let's hope you don't find out the hard way. Rise of the Underworld introduces a new keyword, lurk, as well as 43 new cards, including 3 champions, Echo, Pike, and Rek'Sai. And Rek'Sai is that bad bitch, baby. So, Rise in the Underworld arrives in 2.11, which will be playable approximately 11 a.m. Pacific time, June 30th, which means it's already out. So, they got the new cards. They're already on Mobalytics and DAC.gd, but the new keyword is lurk. So, when you attack while on top of your deck, I lurk, granting lurker allies everywhere +1/+0 max once per round. So that sounds pretty cool. So they have lurk powers up new lurker followers. If you attack with allies lurks on top of your deck, some lurkers have powerful bonus effects when lurk activates for them as well. If you plan on playing with lurkers, think ahead. You'll need to be able to predict what's on top of your deck to use them effectively. So this seems like kind of a wild card kind of keyword that we have here. And then we have a new challenge beneath the surface. Unsure if that challenge is still there, but then they have a card updates here with everyone. So looks like I'm just going to read the top portion. So, hi everyone, with the release of Rise of the Underworld, we are also including a large list of live card updates. Thank goodness. The scope of changes in this update is much larger than past live design updates because they package together with a number of live design opportunities that they've identified over time. The changes below will provide us with better foundation for live changes in the future. So that's pretty much what they're talking about with this patch. Is this is giving them a good basis for live changes. So with the 2.11 live updates, they're targeting the top Irelia, Azir, Nasus Thresh, Trundle, Lissandra, and Draven decks. So any changes we consider for other cards would be largely overshadowed with the current level of the top decks. So they want to tone each of these decks down, but they still want these decks to exist without dominating. So they're considering what's next. Their first goal was to consider what decks are strong and maybe not that popular would likely replace current top decks. So they're just kind of doing a little switcheroo with maybe and trying to balance everything out. You know how Riot's always trying to balance everything. They're focusing on region identities, so they want these changes to help emphasize the identity, strengths, and weaknesses they target for each region. Some regions have drifted away from their intended strengths and weaknesses over time, for example, buffing Iona's flexibility with combat tricks and recall buffing Bilge Watcher's incidental damage, or big bets with bigger payoffs. Some nerfs to Targon to have more pronounced weaknesses rather than being good at everything, because Targon has been really good at everything for a while. And of course, all regions can perform. So it's not just the Targon region that would perform as much, but like it's just they want more regions to perform just as that high level. So the future, they have several releases for new cards coming in a short amount of time. So 2.11.0, which is this patch, which is Rise in the Underworlds. 2.12.0, which is the summer event release. And then we have 2.14, which is the next set release. So of course their game is constantly changing and they want to keep updating it. And this is what I love about Legends of Runeterra, because they actually balance it a lot better than I think League in general. And TFT has been really good as well. I think I might start doing TFT patch note reviews as well, because I do love playing TFT. So we got champions. So with Misfortune, her level 2, no keywords, went from that to Overwhelm. So that is a big buff for Misfortune because she had no keywords before. For Yarvin, his level 1 allies have survived 4+ strikes from enemy blockers has now been changed to allies have survived 3+ strikes from enemy blockers. So instead of 4, you get 3. So that's kind of a buff for Jarvan as well, or Yarvin. Tryndamere, his level 2 went from Overwhelm Fearsome to Overwhelm Fearsome and Tough. So that is a buff to him as well, because now he not only does have Overwhelm and Fearsome, but he has Tough as well, which is going to be hard as hell to kill this fucking card. And I hate going against a Tryndamere card. With Karma, fantastic card as well. Her cost went from 6 to 5, which is pretty good, I would have to say, especially for how OP her card is if you get her late game with all the spells. So that is something to definitely watch out for. So you're kind of seeing some of the balance changes in play at the moment with all of these cards from the different regions. Irelia, level up requirement, 12+ allies have attacked, but now it's 14+ allies have attacked. This is kind of a nerf for Irelia. She was pretty strong. But at the same time, once she takes over the board, she takes over the board. That's just how Irelia does it. So this is kind of a nerf, but a good nerf. It's not too much, so you just got to have 2 extra enemies attack in order to activate her level up. Because she is pretty low cost, so I wouldn't say it's terrible. With Riven, her level 1 used to be when you gain the attack token, Reforge. Now, when she's summoned, if you have an attack token, Reforge. So it's a little bit more specific with the wording, which I do like. Her level 2 changed from when you gain the attack token Reforged. Now it's when I'm summoned if you have attack token Reforged. Same thing, but still pretty good. Heimerdinger, his base stats changed from 1 to 3 to 2 to 4 for level 1. And then for his level 2 is 2 to 4 to 3 to 5. Great buff for Heimerdinger. He was very good for when he came out, but then he got nerfed quite a bit. But now this will definitely bring him back into the game. Looks like Hecarim also got some base stats buffs as well, but only on the health side of things, which is still really good for Hecarim. His base stats were 5.5 for his level 1, and now they're 5.6. And for his level 2, they were 6.6, and now they're 6.7. And now with Azir, he got a slight nerf with his level 1. So instead of summoning 10 units, you have to summon 13 for his level up. For Nasus, his keywords have changed from Fearsome to no keywords. But Nasus level 2 and 3 still have Fearsome. So only his first level does not have Fearsome, which is kind of a good thing because Nasus decks have been OP. But in general, I still think this is really good because, I mean, once Nasus, I feel like in any portion gets rolling, he hasn't been in TFT yet, but like when he's in League, like once he starts to get rolling, he becomes unstoppable. I've always hated going against Nasus top lane if I can't shut him down quick enough. With Sivir, her level up requirement, you've dealt 35+ damage. So she got a buff. So instead of 35, you deal 30+ damage. It's 5 damage may not seem like a lot, but like sometimes in times of need, it is just the perfect amount. With Talia, so her original text was attack, deal 2 to my blocker. If it's dead or gone, deal 2 to the enemy nexus instead. If you have a landmark, do this 2 more times. But now with her new attack, it is deal 2 to my blocker 3 times, which is a lot. If it's dead or gone, deal 2 to the enemy nexus instead. So she is kind of hard to play, but in general, I feel like she can be very strong in certain decks and certain situations. But I think overall, she's not like the strongest champion card, but she can be decent enough to end the game at like a pivotal moment. So Taric, his base stats were buffed only by his health. So for his level 1, instead of 3.4, he's a 3.5. For his level 2, instead of a 4.5, he's a 4.6. Slight buff, not like huge, but still big enough to the point where you do have to deal extra damage. And Aphelios, his base stats have also been buffed by only his health. So instead of being a 3-2 for his level 1, he is now a 3-3. For his level 2, instead of being a 4-3, he is now a 4-4. So that's it for the champions. Now we are going to follower spells and landmarks. So Make It Rain used to cost 3 mana, now it's 2. But Misfortunes Make It Rain is the same deal. Instead, this one creates a misfortune in your deck. And it's still cost-wise, I think, amazing for either of these options because it deals 1-3 times among different randomly targeted enemies and the enemy nexus. So that's still pretty good. Black Market Merchant base stats were buffed a bit just by health. So instead of being 2-1, he's 2-2. Double up cost, like a slight buff. What I mean, like cost went down. So instead of costing 6, it is 5. Slot Bot. So his change was his text. So his round start, grant me +0/+1 for each card you drew last round, then shuffle my power and health. Then now it is on summon and round start, grant me +1/+0 for each card you drew last round, then shuffle my power and health. Not too different instead of just being at round start, but it has to be on summon. So I believe it can only happen one time instead of just happening at the start of every round. That's what I'm getting from it. So other 2 spells, Confront and Shyvana's Confront. Same thing, same deal as Misfortunes. They're both 2 costs now, but Shyvana's Confront, it also shuffles a Shyvana into your deck, making it that much better. Mage Seeker Inciter, his base stats have been buffed slightly by his health by 1. Laurent's Blade Keeper, his attack has been buffed by 1. So he's no longer a 2-3, he is a 3-3. Howling Abyss. So this is a landmark. So at the round start, create an in-hand random level 2 champion that's not in your hand, deck, or play. The cost went down, so it's no longer 7 mana cost. It is 6 mana cost, which is good, especially for a landmark. Then we have Ren Shadowblade. Attack has been buffed by 1, so instead of being a 3-3, is now a 4-3. Lots happening. Lots happening in this patch. Dancing Droplet. Instead of just being elusive and attune, it is just elusive. So that's a slight nerf to this card, but it still makes it a pretty good 1 mana card. Green Glade Lookout. Base stats have been increased for his health, so just ever so slightly. So instead of being a 2-1, it is a 2-2. Young Witch. Base stats was 1-1, now it's 1-2, slight buff. Will of Ionia, slight buff in cost. Used to be 5 cost, now it's 4 cost. And Will of Ionia is very, very good card. I always have that in all of my Ionia decks, despite it even being a 5 cost beforehand. Twin Disciplines now was 3 cost, now it's 2 cost. Still very good because that gives an ally +3/+0, +0/+3, depending on what you want for just that round specifically. Very good cost for that card. Probably going to see it a lot more. Incisive Tactician. Base stats are no longer 4-5. Got a slight buff with its attack, so it's 5-5. City Breaker. Base stats have changed slightly. So instead of being a 0-5, is now a 1-5, which is a buff for this card because it does, for a lower cost card, it does have a high amount of health. Especially since it deals 1 to the enemy nexus every round. So Jave Medarda, he gets a buff, a 1-1 buff. So his base stats has been increased. Maiden Stoke Henchman, his base stats used to be 5-3, now it's 5-4, slight buff in his health. Rummage used to cost 1, now it's 2, slight nerf, but not a terrible nerf in general, just 1 more cost. You just got to play around that just a little bit better, especially if you're doing discard decks. Tri-Beam Improbulator cost got nerfed, so it's now a 5 cost instead of being a 4 cost. Again, you just got to keep that in mind because I know you're probably used to it before. Watcher. The text has changed for Watcher. So it used to say, I cost 0 if you summon 4+ allies that cost 8+ this game. Attack, obliterate the enemy deck, which is insane. But now, I cost 0 if you summon 5+ allies that have 8+ this game. Attack, obliterate all but 3 non-champion cards in the enemy deck. So while this is a slight nerf to this card, it is still a very, very powerful card. Instead of summoning 4+ allies with 8+, you got to make sure you have at least 5+ allies that are 8+. And then it'll completely obliterate the other deck except for 3 non-champion cards. Still an insane card to have in any deck. Raja the Sunderer. got a buff, so he's no longer 7-5. He's an 8-6, +1/+1. Dusk Rider, base stats are used to be 2-5, now 3-5, slight buff in his attack. Escaped Abomination, base stats used to be 4-3. Now it got a slight nerf to 4-2. Escaped Abomination is still a very good card. For the cost, Stalking Shadows. Cost used to be 2, now it is 3, so it got a slight nerf, but it's still reasonably... I think this is a fine, reasonable change within this card. Then we have the Clock Hand. Base stats used to be 4-7. It got a massive attack buff. Now it's 7-7. Because when Clock Hand is summoned, it creates 2 instant sentries in hand. So this is a card to watch out for, to see a lot more often in the Shurima base decks. Then we have Raz Bloodmane. Base stats were 6-6. Now they're 7-7. +1/+1 buff. We got Dune Keeper. Base stats were 2-1. Then they flipped it. Now it's 1-2. So a little bit more survivability. Still a good 1 mana cost card to have. We have Mountain Sojourners. I always have trouble saying that word. Base stats used to be 2-5. Now we got a massive attack buff with a 4-5. So instead of... Now it's got +2. And this is still a very good mid card from the Targon deck. So we have Sun Guardian. Base stats were 4-3. Now it's 4-4. Just a +1 in its health. Still very, very good because Daybreak gives +4/+4 this round. Very good Sun Guardian card, especially with Overwhelm. Great... Even better card now. Star Shaping used to cost 5. Now it costs 4. Very good cost for this type of card. It is a burst, and you will see this a lot more in Targon decks. The Serpent, base stats were 2-1. Now they're 1-1. Got a slight nerf, but it is 0 cost. So I still think that it's fine even for a 1-1. And then the last one called the Fangs. The base stats were 3-2. Now it's 2-2. Slight nerf. Still very good card for how much it costs. So they have some region road updates. Shurima, Piltover, Zon, and Bilgewater's region roads have been extended by 4 levels to coincide with the release of their new champions. Got some lab updates and then a prologue. So this patch brings a big update to the prologue, the part of the new player's journey that happens after the first 4 tutorial games and guides, and the unlocked region rewards. So they got step-by-step modes, improved pace of progress, and more deck rewards. Now, of course, we got personalization, which is always something we like to look for. So let's take a look at Sandstorm Echo. Very cool art piece we have here. Also very cool art piece. I love Echo. I think he's one of my favorite characters in League of Legends in general, but for some reason I always think that the art for Legends of Runeterra is so much better than League of Legends. Like, look at this Pyke art right here. This is so sick. Pyke is so cool. And then now we have the alternate art. Well, no, not the alternate. Those are alternate arts. No, this is the boards. This is a very Pyke-centric board, so how could you not like this? I would love this board, actually. Sunken Shipyard. Look at this card back for Pyke. And then we have the Blood Harbor Ripper, aka that's him. And then the Void Burrower, Rek'Sai. She's amazing. I love her. She's one of my favorite junglers. You got we got a couple emotes here. We got Unlucky, and then this right here, and then none of that, which I love all of these emotes. They're really funny. So these are the bundles that they have going on right here. The Curse of the Deep bundle is available for 2,403 coins. Prorated for any items that you already own, of course. So the Sunken Shipyard board, the Blood Harbor Ripper card back, the Unlucky emote, Sand Wraith, Pyke Champion skin, Pyke Champion card, and exclusive Blood Harbor Ripper icon. Decent bundle. Now, the Dueling Timelines deck bundle is available for the store, 3,173 coins. Cost also prorated if you already own anything else. So this is a pre-made deck centering around Echo and Zillion. Sounds actually really awesome, as you get Sandstorm, Echo's Champion skin, and Echo emotes. And this actually looks like a pretty solid combo. I haven't played this combo, so this is something I definitely got to take a look into. So now they have more expeditions. One second, I've been talking for a decent bit. Some water is very good right now. What is it, dude? My cat wants to do something. So for expeditions, for the release of Rise of the Underworlds, they're adding 7 new archetypes to Expeditions pool, featuring the new champions and strategies highlighted in this expansion. And new cards have been added to existing archetypes as well. So they have Time Lords, which is Zillion and Echo, manipulate the future, which predict to enable big combos. Predict Lurkers, which manipulate your deck with Echo and predict to enable Pyke and Lurker combos. Lurkers is Rek'Sai, Pyke, and Sharks lurking in your deck, growing increasingly deadly with each attack. opportunity attacks. Use Irelia Blade Dance along with Misfortune, the Trick or Plunder effects. Sand and Ashes, which is Azir and Hecarim swarm your enemy with ephemeral units. Brutality, Kindred and LeBlanc uses Strike to kill effects to decimate your foe. And then Vulnerable, Renekton, and Misfortune use Vulnerable to enable devastating attacks. So these are the big Rise of the Underworld archetypes. Will be a lot cooler. I like these combinations that they have here. And then we just have your normal bug fixes. Now, of course, I didn't go through every single aspect in this patch notes because this is a very, very large patch note, but we went over it quite a bit. So I think overall, this is a fantastic update, especially with the new Rise of the Underworlds patch, the new expansion that is, and especially with the new keyword lurk, which is probably the biggest portion of this, as well as the new champions that we have. And yeah, they did a lot of great updates on the champion cards, as well as the followers, landmarks, and spells. And they have a lot of cute personalization and expedition updates. I would say this is one of the bigger patches they've come out to date, and I very much enjoy it. And I cannot wait to try that. What is it? That bundle that they have down there. This one with the Echo and Zillion. I really want to try that. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys have tried that and how much you like it and what your favorite deck is at the moment. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I highly appreciate your time as always. But please do not forget to subscribe and or follow not only to my YouTube but to my Twitch. You guys know where my YouTube is at, but you can find my Twitch at twitch.tv/thegamedame. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.